But look how beautiful this is. Thank you for being here in this Superman tutorial. Today I am going to teach you how to crochet this amigurumi step by step. Here I leave you the materials you are going to need, and without further ado, let's begin. We are going to start with Superman's boots. And in round number 1 we are going to make a magic ring of 8 single crochet stitches. In round number 2 we are going to make an increase 8 times, so that at the end we have 16 single crochet stitches. In round number 3 we are going to make 16 single crochet stitches in back loop only, which means taking only the back strand, just like I am showing you here. And we are going to do this for the entire round. This is how round number 3 looks. The fabric is already starting to take a different direction. It is going upward. In round number 4 I am going to make 16 single crochet stitches around the entire round. In round number 5 I am going to make 5 single crochet stitches, 1 triple decrease 2 times, 5 single crochet stitches, and in total I will have 12 single crochet stitches. Here I am already finishing the first 5 single crochet stitches of this round. And next I am going to make the triple decrease. I pull up yarn through the first stitch. I pull up yarn through the second stitch. And then I pull up yarn through the third stitch. The last thing left is to grab more yarn to close these 4 loops that are here on my hook. And this is how our first triple decrease is made. I am going to continue with the second one to finish the rest of the pattern. From round 6 to round 10 I am going to make 12 single crochet stitches. That means there will be 5 rounds of 12 stitches. Here I have finished the 5 rounds. And this is how Superman's little boot is turning out. The decreases we made in round 5 were to define the tip of the shoe, as we can see here. Now, I am going to turn the boot to start crocheting the sole on the bottom part, right in these leftover strands from the round where we only crochet back loop only, right here. I am going to insert my hook. I am going to take the red color again, first making a slip knot. I am going to pull the slip knot through this first strand. I start with 1 chain. And then in the next strand I continue with single crochet stitches. And like this, all around the round. I am going to try to hide the leftover yarn by placing it in front of the hook, while I crochet the rest of the single crochet stitches. This is how our 16 stitches look. And now, in the chain we crocheted at the beginning, I am going to insert my hook to make a slip stitch so I can cut the yarn and hide it. It is time to continue with the leg. And with blue color we are going to make 1 round of 12 single crochet stitches in back loop only. As I have said before, back loop only means crocheting only into the back strand, just like I am showing you here. It is time to lightly stuff Superman's leg. I am going to do it with a small stick to help me, avoiding overstuffing so that the fabric does not open and the stuffing does not show. From round 12 to round 19 I am going to crochet 12 single crochet stitches, which means there will be 8 rounds of 12 stitches. Once round 19 is finished, I am going to stuff the rest of the leg and cut the yarn normally. Pause the video or replay it so you can crochet the second leg, and then we will start with the assembly. Before anything else, check that the stuffing has been placed in a way that the tip of the boot is well defined. Now, here I am going to place the tip of the boot facing toward me. That is, I should be looking at the tip of the boot, and I am going to go to the top of the fabric where I stopped so I can divide the stitches in half. I am going to place the tip of the boot facing to the left, so that right in front of me I have the 2 stitches that separate each side of the boot. Here I have already been able to define which stitch marks the beginning of the back part, and which stitch marks the beginning of the front part. I am going to start working in the stitch that marks the beginning of the back part. So, in that stitch that I have already defined as the beginning of the back part, I am going to insert my hook. And now, yes, I am going to start with the assembly and the body crochet. In round number 20 I am going to crochet in red color the following pattern. In the stitch where we inserted the hook, we are going to pull up the red yarn and start by crocheting 2 chains. These chains are going to mark the distance between one leg and the other. Now I am going to take the next leg, which would be the left leg, because from where the 2 chains come out is the right leg. Therefore, the leg where we are going to start crocheting the 12 single crochet stitches will be the left leg. For this, we should have also divided the left leg to be able to recognize which stitch marks the beginning of the back part of that leg, okay? Because from there we are going to start crocheting those next 12 single crochet stitches on the back part of the left leg. To do this, we have to direct the tip of the boot facing to the right, so that we can establish the division of both parts, the front part going to the right and the back part going to the left. Since I have crocheted this pattern many times, I already know which stitch marks the beginning of the back part, so here I am inserting the hook to start the pattern. At this moment I am also going to use a stitch marker so I do not lose my starting stitch. Once the 12 single crochet stitches on the left leg are finished, it is time to crochet a single crochet stitches into the chain we made at the beginning. It is not necessary to remove the stitch marker, because the stitch marker is placed in stitch number 1 of the 12 single crochet stitches of the left leg. At this moment we have these 2 chains free that I am pointing to here, and right here is where we are going to crochet those 2 single crochet stitches. To get a cleaner result, what I like to do is make sure the chains are facing downwards so that I have the back part of the chains in front of me. So here I am showing you where the front of the chains is, where you can clearly see the V shape, and all I am going to do is flip these chains to work these 2 stitches into a single strand of the 2 chains. It is time to crochet the 12 single crochet stitches on the right leg, which is where we started crocheting the 2 chains at the beginning. We have to be very careful not to insert the hook into the stitch where the 2 chains come out. Where we need to crochet is in the first stitch of the front part of the right leg, and I am going to crochet 12 single crochet stitches. It is time To crochet the last 2 stitches of the round, we have to look carefully at which strands are left to crochet. Because the first time we only crocheted on one side of the chains, that means that when going around the fabric on the other side, we will have the 2 strands left to crochet. At the end, I should have 28 single crochet stitches. We have finished the most complex part of the body, which is the leg assembly, and now, from round number 21 to round 23 we are going to make 28 single crochet stitches. That means 3 consecutive rounds of 28 stitches. This is how those 3 rounds look finished. At this moment we are going to change color to blue to proceed with round number 24, in which we are going to make only 1 decrease on each side to end with 26 single crochet stitches. This round is done in back loop only. And why am I not telling you exactly where you have to make these decreases? Because the fabric tilts differently for each person. I do not think I can give you an exact stitch count, where the decrease will be located on the side of Superman's hip. So guide yourself by making the decrease when you reach the exact side of your amigurumi's body. Here I have reached Superman's side, and I'm going to proceed to make the first decrease. Here I am crocheting the front part of Superman until I reach the other side to make the second decrease. In round number 25 I am going to make 26 single crochet stitches. In round number 26 I am going to make 1 decrease on each side again, to end with 24 single crochet stitches. Once round number 26 is finished, I am going to pause the body pattern a bit because at this moment I am going to crochet the belt. With yellow color I am going to crochet 26 chains. Here I do recommend that you crochet the chains according to the body of your amigurumi. If you need to make 28, crochet 28, or if you need fewer, adjust the number of chains your amigurumi needs. Here I have finished crocheting my chains, and I am going to apply a bit of silicone glue around it to attach it. This is how the belt looks once it is glued. I have even already hidden the yarn inside. It is time to continue with the body pattern, and what I am going to do is share the next rounds up to round number 33, so you can crochet at your own pace. What comes next is actually quite intuitive. 1 round with decreases, and 1 round without decreases, 1 round with decreases and 1 round without. So carefully follow the next pattern, and I will see you again. This is how Superman's body looks now. I am going to stuff the sides evenly so that the waist is not too defined, since this character does not have a very defined waist. I am going to continue with round number 34, and I am going to make 9 decreases. At the end I must have 9 single crochet stitches. I have finished the torso part of Superman, and I am going to continue with the neck. For this, I need to change color to beige or cream. In round number 35, I am going to make one round of 9 single crochet stitches in back loop only, taking only the back strand. It is true that crocheting becomes a bit more difficult here, but we are going to do it with a lot of patience. This is how the beginning of Superman's little neck looks. And now, from round number 36 to round number 43, I am going to make 9 single crochet stitches. That means the next 8 rounds will be 9 stitches each. Once Superman's neck is finished, I am going to take a wooden skewer that still has its tip and insert it all the way through the crotch area of the amigurumi. Cut it with pliers. Push the skewer back in until it is completely hidden, and then try to push it out. Again, you will not be able to, because the tip is what allows it to pass through all the stuffing already inside the body. In this way, we make sure that the skewer does not hurt anyone and also gives firmness to the body and the neck of the amigurumi. I am going to lightly stuff the neck without exaggerating so that it does not become too thick and can fit into the head. The only thing left here is to close the last 8 single crochet stitches with a yarn needle. I do it this way. I insert the needle from inside and then outside, from inside and then outside. I pull tightly, make a knot of my preference, and hide the yarn downward. This is how the body of the Superman amigurumi looks. Indeed, the legs are quite long, since this character is very tall. And now it is time to crochet the arms with cream color. In round number 1, I am going to make a magic ring of 5 single crochet stitches. From round number 2 to round number 4, I am going to crochet 5 single crochet stitches. That means 3 rounds of 5 stitches. I am going to change color to blue. And from round number 5 to round number 16, I am going to crochet 5 single crochet stitches. That means the next 12 rounds will have only 5 stitches each. This is how the arm looks. And once you have crocheted the second one, we are going to use galvanized wire. The first step is to take a fairly long piece that we can fold in half so that at one end of the arm we have the folded wire. That fold is the first thing we are going to insert into the sides of Superman's body. Before you tell me that I am not showing you where I am going to place it, here I leave marked where I am going to bring the wire out. Use this distance between the neck and Superman's shirt as a reference. Do the same for the other side where you need to insert the wire. Do not forget to add a small ball of stuffing at the tip of the arm, so that the wire does not go through the magic ring at the beginning. Once you have measured how much wire you need, we are also going to measure how much we need for the other side. If you have extra, leave an additional 1 centimeter after Superman's hand. Cut the wire and then bend the tips inward so they do not hurt anyone. Here I am going to start sewing the arms onto the body, and once all the leftover threads are hidden, I am going to position Superman's arms according to my preference. It is time to crochet the long-awaited cape in round number 1. I am going to crochet 22 chains in red color. Once all the chains are finished, in round number 2 I am going to crochet 20 double crochet stitches. Since this is a double crochet fabric, that means I need to skip the first 2 chains and start crocheting from the 3rd chain, right in the strand that I am showing you at this moment. To start this round, I like to crochet on the back part of the chains, always taking the back strand. So here I already have the back of the chains facing me. I yarn over the hook, insert it into the corresponding stitch, pull up a strand, and now I have 3 loops on my hook. I yarn over again to pull through only 2 of those loops. Then I yarn over again to pull through the last 2 remaining loops. And that is how a double crochet stitch is made. I am going to continue with the remaining 19 double crochet stitches to finish this round. This is how the round of 20 double crochet stitches looks finished. And now, in round number 3, I am going to make 2 chains for height, 1 double crochet decrease, 15 double crochet stitches, another double crochet decrease, and 1 double crochet stitch at the end of the round. Once the first 2 chains are made, I always need to turn the fabric. To make the first decrease, I insert my hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop. I insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up another loop. I yarn over to pull through the first 3 loops, and then yarn over again to pull through the last 2 loops. That is how I make a double crochet decrease. In round number 4 I am going to make 2 chains for height, 1 decrease, 13 double crochet stitches, another decrease, and 1 double crochet stitch at the end. The following rounds are also quite intuitive with decreases on the ends. So here I leave the continuation of the cape pattern up to round number 9. And this is how the entire cape pattern is finished. What we are going to do now is crochet single crochet stitches around the entire cape to improve the appearance of the edges. Before starting, I like to crochet 1 chain and then make 2 single crochet stitches per row. That means on this side I will end up crocheting 16 single crochet stitches. Here I have finished crocheting the first side of the cape. I want you to notice how much better the edge looks compared to the other side that we have not crocheted yet. That is why we do this round of single crochet stitches. Dot at the corner. What I am going to do is make 1 chain to better define the tip and be able to continue with the same number of stitches that are in the last round of double crochet stitches. But here we are going to crochet single crochet stitches. Here the bottom part is already finished. I am going to start with 1 chain before starting the next side, and I am going to crochet 16 single crochet stitches in the same way as on the first side. Here I have finished crocheting the cape. I am going to measure it on the body to see if it is perfect just the way I wanted it, and honestly, it is. Before gluing it, I am going to take red yarn and make a small detail that was missing on Superman's pants or shorts, which are the belt loops. I am simply going to insert the yarn at the height where we sewed the arms. There I am going to insert my yarn and crochet around with red color, like this. I am going to do this on each side, both on the front and the back of Superman's body. Once I finish sewing these little details that were missing from Superman's shorts, I am going to glue the cape by placing a small drop of silicone glue on top of the shoulders, just like this, so that the bottom part can remain loose and look a bit more natural. I am also leaving you in the description of this video the link, where you can download the different sizes of shields available depending on the size of your amigurumi. For me, on this occasion, the first size in the document is perfect. I simply printed it in the best possible quality and glued it with hot silicone glue. Now the entire body of the amigurumi is finished. It is time to start with the head in round number 1. I am going to make a magic ring of 8 single crochet stitches. In round number 2, I am going to make an increase 8 times, ending with 16 single crochet stitches. In round number 3, I am going to make 1 single crochet stitch and 1 increase 8 times, ending with 24 single crochet stitches. In round number 4, I am going to make 2 single crochet stitches and 1 increase 8 times, ending with 32 single crochet stitches. In round number 5, I am going to make 3 single crochet stitches and 1 increase 8 times, ending with 40 single crochet stitches. From round number 6 to round number 17, I am going to make 40 single crochet stitches. That means the next 12 rounds will have only 40 stitches. Once finished, this is how the height of the head looks. And in round number 18, I am going to crochet 3 single crochet stitches to decreases, 6 single crochet stitches 3 times to decreases, and 3 single crochet stitches at the end, for a total of 32 single crochet stitches. The main characteristic of this head is that the top part will have a rounded shape, to make crocheting the hair much easier, but the bottom part will start to close in a square shape, so that we have 4 well-defined corners that need to be stuffed properly. As we close the head dot, it is time to place the safety eyes. We are going to ignore the last round where the decreases started, and consider only the last 5 rounds. Right at the end, in this green strip that I am marking, that is where the safety eyes will be placed. Place the pins as a reference because, at this moment, we are going to correct their placement by guiding ourselves. Using the decrease on the left corner. Once we have identified where the decrease is, we need to identify which 2 stitches were decreased, because the stitch on the right will mark the direction where the first eye will be placed. Once the first stitch of the decrease or the stitch on the right-hand side is identified, we are going to count 5 rounds, including the round where the stitch is located. That is where the left eye of the amigurumi will be placed. We are going to count 5 stitches to the right. because in that space marked in red is where the right eye of the amigurumi will be placed. Now I am going to place the safety eyes, as I normally do, to continue with the next step, which is embroidering small details in the eyes with white and black yarn to give them a bit more light. I am going to try to use a needle with a sharp tip to pass through the yarn more easily. On the eye, I am going to draw an imaginary clock with its corresponding numbers so we can guide ourselves on where to insert the needle at each moment. The first step is to insert the needle with white yarn into the right eye right at number 8 on our imaginary clock. Now I am going to wrap the yarn around the eye toward the right and insert the needle at number 12 on our imaginary clock. Once this is done, I am going to move the needle from behind the head, meaning inside the head, to the left eye, and I am going to bring the needle out at number 12 of the other eye. Now I am going to pull all the yarn to leave a moderate tension on this small strand. What I like to do is use the tip of an additional yarn needle to place a small drop of silicone glue right where that strand is and gently press it with my nail so it does not move at all. Now on the left eye I am going to finish embroidering the white highlight. I am going to insert the needle at number 4 on our imaginary clock, at the same height where I first brought the needle out with the white yarn. I am going to pull all the remaining yarn, leave a moderate tension, and secure this strand with a small drop of silicone glue on the left side of the eye. Now with black yarn I am also going to embroider a small detail just above the eye. First, I am going to bring my needle out again at number 8 on our imaginary clock. Then wrap the yarn upward and insert the needle at number 3 on the imaginary clock. When the needle is behind the fabric, meaning inside the head, I am going to bring it out in the other eye pointing to number 9 on the imaginary clock. In the same way, I am going to wrap black yarn around the top part of the eye and insert the needle at number 3 on the imaginary clock. Let's not forget that these strands are also secured with a small drop of silicone glue so they do not move at all. This is how the embroidered eye details of the amigurumi look. Now we are going to continue with Superman's eyebrows. I am going to place black yarn on the yarn needle again. The first step is to draw an imaginary line just above the eye. That will be the line where the needle will come out for the first time, meaning the beginning of our eyebrow. To do this, we have to count a single crochet stitches to the right of the eye. Here, marked in red, is where the needle will come out for the first time, meaning the beginning of the eyebrow. Now I am going to count 3 rounds upward, and then count 3 single crochet stitches to the left. That way I can identify where the right eyebrow will end. On the other side, I am going to draw the imaginary line above the eye, then count the stitches to the left next to the eye, to define where the needle will come out. From there I will count 3 rounds upward and then count 3 single crochet stitches to the right. That will be the point where the eyebrow ends. I am going to be very careful not to pull these strands too tight, because if I do, they will tighten too much and open the single crochet stitch. Then, when we stuff the head, which is the next step, the stuffing will show through that stitch. Once the head is stuffed, I am going to continue with round number 19 and crochet to single crochet stitches to decreases, and for single crochet stitches 3 times, then to decreases into single crochet stitches at the end, for a total of 20 for single crochet stitches. In round number 20 I am going to make 1 single crochet stitch to decreases, and for single crochet stitches 3 times, then to decreases, and 1 single crochet stitch, ending with 16 single crochet stitches. Since we are making decreases in every round, the opening of the head gets smaller. So we need to start stuffing the corners of the chin more precisely. We need to be very careful to stuff enough so that the 4 corners formed by the decreases are well defined, giving the effect of a rounded top head and a more defined chin at the bottom. In round number 21, I am going to crochet a single crochet stitches and 1 decrease for times, ending with 12 single crochet stitches. From round number 22 to round number 25, I am going to crochet 12 single crochet stitches. That means for rounds of 12 stitches only. Once the last rounds of the head pattern are crocheted, I am going to cut the yarn and make 1 chain to fasten off the fabric with a small stick. I am going to push these last 4 rounds inward. That is where Superman's neck will be inserted. I am going to continue with the hair, ideally. The hair should always be crocheted before attaching the body for this pattern. In round number 1, I am going to make a magic ring of 8 single crochet stitches. In round number 2, I am going to make an increase 8 times, ending with 16 single crochet stitches. In round number 3, I am going to make 1 single crochet stitch and 1 increase 8 times, ending with 24 single crochet stitches. This will be the last round crocheted in a circular way, because from now on we are going to crochet the hair in strips. In the next available stitch, which is the first stitch of our round, I am going to make a slip stitch. Once a slip stitch is made, I am going to crochet 16 chains. Once the 16 chains are finished, I am going to skip 1 chain and crochet 15 single crochet stitches in the remaining chains. The last step to finish the first strip is to make a slip stitch in the single crochet stitch where we made the first slip stitch of the round. That means there will be 2 slip stitches in 1 stitch, 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end. This is how the first hair strip looks. I am going to repeat this pattern 13 more times, so that at the end I have 14 identical strips. Here my little octopus is ready, meaning the hair strips. I like to call it that because it looks like a little octopus. What I am going to do is take a pin and place it right in the magic ring, where the hair base started. This pin will help me attach this little octopus to Superman's head. I am not going to place the pin in the magic ring of the head, but 1 round ahead, exactly 1 single crochet stitch ahead. I am simply going to place more pins to attach the hair strips to the head. I am going to try to center them as best as possible, making sure that the first strip on each side is about 3 single crochet stitches away from the eyebrow, with a lot of patience. I am going to do this process 1 by 1 until all the hair is positioned around the entire head, and then I will glue them 1 by 1 with silicone glue. You can also sew them, but it will take much longer, so I really recommend gluing them now. Once all the hair strips are attached to Superman's head right at the back, I am going to crochet the strips that represent the sideburns. For the first sideburn, I am going to do the following pattern. I am going to make a slip stitch in the next stitch that corresponds, then crochet 11 chains. At the end, I am going to skip 1 chain and crochet 10 single crochet stitches in the next ones. And finally make a slip stitch in the same stitch where I made the first slip stitch of the strip. If you see that this strip is a bit shorter, I am going to place it with a pin to secure it well. Now it is time to crochet the curl. This is one of my favorite parts. I am going to make a slip stitch in the next available single crochet stitch, crochet 11 chains. Skip 1 chain, crochet 10 single crochet stitches in the remaining chains, and then make a slip stitch, not in the same stitch where I started, but in the next available stitch at the base of the hair. Here I have finished the first curl strip, but this is not exactly the curl yet. This will be the very characteristic little strand Superman has on his forehead. I am going to twist it to the left so it looks like a little pigtail. In the next single crochet stitch, I am going to make a slip stitch, 7 chains, skip 1 chain, crochet 6 single crochet stitches in the next available chains, and at the end make a slip stitch in the next available stitch at the hair base. I am going to repeat this procedure 3 more times to have 3 strips that correspond to Superman's curl. If you followed the pattern correctly, at the end we will only have 1 single crochet stitch available in the entire hair base round. In that stitch we are going to do the following: make a slip stitch, crochet 11 chains, skip 1 chain, crochet 10 single crochet stitches in the available chains, and finally make a slip stitch where we made the first slip stitch of the strip. Once all of this is crocheted, we have finished all the hair strips of the amigurumi. You can now cut your yarn and hide it in the head with the yarn needle. Now what remains is to position with pins the last strip we crocheted, which is a sideburn, on the other side of the hair, and also secure Superman's curl near his forehead. I am going to do it this way. I will stretch it downward and fold it backward, so that the end meets the beginning of where the strip comes out. Once you are very happy with the placement of all the hair strips, it is time to glue each strip to the head one by one dot. And if you thought we were already done with the pattern, let me tell you that we are missing the ears of the amigurumi. This pattern has only 1 round, which is a magic ring of 4 single crochet stitches, of course. We are going to make this twice. Here I am simply going to close my magic ring and make 1 chain to fasten off the yarn. This tiny little ball is what will become the ear of the amigurumi, which I am going to glue with a small drop of silicone glue. But first, let's make the nose. Since we need to embroider it directly on the face of the amigurumi, very carefully, I am going to insert the yarn needle inside where Superman's neck would go, and bring the needle out right at the point I am marking here, which is basically on the last line where the eyes are located. I am going to count to single crochet stitches to the left, and that is where I am going to insert the needle to mark the beginning and the end of what will be the nose. This strand will be relatively loose, and I do not need to pull it tight, because now what I am going to do is pass the yarn needle underneath 6 times, as if I were wrapping the yarn like this. Here goes 2. Here goes 3. Here goes 4. Here goes 5. and this would be the sixth and last one. Once his tiny and beautiful nose is embroidered on Superman's face, I am going to insert the needle and hide the yarn toward the back of the head. I do not need to do anything else, I just cut the yarn, and now Superman's nose is ready. It looks so cute and perky, and my friends, we have now completely finished the Superman amigurumi pattern. This is how Superman's little head looks. How cute are those ears placed just under the sideburns? How cute is that tiny nose in his characteristic curl. Now this is 100% a matter of taste. I am going to add a little bit of orange blush. I always like to use orange. For characters with very pale skin, I like to use pink. But for characters with a warmer skin tone, I always use a peach color to add a soft shading under the eyes and, of course, a little above the nose, which gives your amigurumi a very sweet touch. And now it is time to insert the neck into the head, and that's it. This has been everything for today. This is how the entire pattern looks finished, fully assembled, fully joined. I invite you to follow me on my social media. You can find me as Lana Clubby C. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and like or interact with my content, because it helps me a lot. I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.